All right, welcome back to Spirit Squared. I'm your host, Andrew Darrington. Tonight, thankfully, we're here at the Beckham Hotel. Josh, this is our 4th episode, and it's been fun, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've learned a lot in the last 3 episodes, and this 4th one is not going to be any different. We want to thank the Beckham Hotel for hosting us and giving us this great spot for us to host this podcast. Big respect to JJ Woodwork for making these hats for us. And then a special shout out to Bird Dog Insurance. Mr. Nash, thanks so much for the shirt. You gave it to me a while back and wanted to wear it to represent your brand. We appreciate you. So tonight we're going another direction, which is going to be fun for us. We've got the Vice President of Gator Waiters, Mr. David Frisbie. Thanks so much for coming on. Real quick, I want to introduce, we went ahead and made a pour. Didn't want to miss this opportunity. We've got Tears of Lorena. Tequila's really hot right now, and this is one of the breadwinners here. It's 86 proof. It's extra añejo. It's a kind of on the pricey side, but it's something that I think both of us are going to enjoy. You said you were a tequila lover, so I think we'll enjoy that, or at least we have already a little bit. So, David, Vice President of Gator Waiters, you've done some things in the past. Let's start with I know you're big into hunting. You've done some things that we'll get into shortly, but talk to me kind of how you've gotten on this path to working with a sporting outfitter like Gator Waiters and obviously a local company. I'm very proud of you guys, you representing your brand on this podcast. So talk to me about that.
So, I started hunting back at shot my first year in 1988.
Okay.
5 years old. So got out hunting. My dad wasn't real into it. My dad didn't care. He wasn't an outdoorsman. He just worked, as a farmer. And my grandfather really kind of took me under his wing and let me chase him around. He would go quail hunting. I get to follow all of him and his buddies around, after the plains of West Texas and Panhandle chasing quail, and just kind of found my love for wing shooting, really. And then got through school, started getting into some big game stuff, and took a job at Budweiser.
Okay.
Worked there for 15 years, but honestly, I would say like year 5, I was like, man, beer is not for me. Like, this isn't how I want to make my living. And I started a kind of an ad agency on the side back when Instagram and Facebook was getting pretty popular.
Right.
And we called it Tight Lines Big Times. My buddy down in Austin, he worked for IBM. Very very creative, real visual guy. Just didn't really fit the hunting scene, but he understood the marketing side of it. And I was running a guide service out west for mule deer, antelope, elk, deer, some waterfowl stuff. And we started partnering with these companies like Sitka and Yeti, and we were building these come-to-market strategies for them. And they would ship me product, and we would use it in the field, and my clients would be like, hey, put this jacket on, and that's we're going to take some pictures of you. Or we're going to take a video of you walking across this creek wearing this new jacket. We'd send it in, and we'd make these like short videos or catalogs for these companies. And one day we got approached by a company called Drape Waterfowl. They're the godfather of waterfowl clothing. They were the first ones to really start doing technical waterfowl.
They're the pappy.
Yeah,
the water.
They very much are.
Right.
And they approached us and asked us to shoot a commercial for them. Well, we did the whole commercial. We worked through it all with them. And at the end of it, we sent them the invoice, and they're like, whoa, this is kind of pricey. So they ended up offering me a job. And I was like, well, this is my way out of the beer business.
Right.
So bailed on Budweiser, worked for for Drake for 5 years. Started off in the marketing, got into some sales, kind of worked my way up in there.
Yeah.
And then one day, Justin Waller, the owner of Gator Waiters,
right,
I'd see him at trade shows and stuff, and we'd always kind of talk trash to each other and each other's shit.
Yeah.
But he called me up and he gave me a job offer, and that's not for me. I'm doing what I love. I work from home, got the best job in the industry, And then he came back to me, and him and his wife invited my wife and I out to Tyler, Texas, and said, hey, let's just just hang out, just meet face to face, hear me out. So we didn't have anything going on that day. We drove out here, and he gave me a job offer, and my wife, as soon as we got in the car, she's like, "We have to do this.
Right.
We have to." So we moved out to East Texas.
Where were y'all moving from?
Fort Worth.
Okay, so you're in a big city.
Right.
You're in Tyler.
Sure.
And this was 2 years ago?
This was 2020.
Okay.
So
so pre-pandemic, kind of pandemic coming.
right.
Yeah. Okay.
So I let Drake know I was leaving, and I took a month off. I went out and went antelope hunting, went deer hunting, kind of just got it all out of my system.
Yeah.
Had a chance to kind of reset, and started with Gator waders in October, and I walked in and just hit the ground running.
Yeah.
It's been nonstop since. Lifestyle's kind of changed a little bit.
Sure.
Used to work from home,
Right.
hunt, fish, whenever I wanted to. Now it's more of a, day to day. I'm involved in every aspect of the company, not just the marketing side. So
Right.
a little bit more stress, but the reason I made the move, to be honest with you, is that Drake, they were such a big brand, and clock in every day and just push the easy button. It's already built, not something that
Don't recreate the wheel.
right.
Yeah.
Just keep doing what we're doing. And at Gator Waders, which we were so small when I started, they've been in business for 10 years when I came on, but it's still at that startup feel. Like everybody's in the warehouse shipping product, and everybody's, pulling their weight and doing wearing multiple different hats and all that. Man, this is exciting. This is what I want to do. Build something that I can be proud of.
Yeah.
So, I'll say we've almost tripled since I've been here in the past.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a huge accomplishment.
Oh man, it's awesome.
Yeah.
We're on the fast track for sure.
Right. I work for Walmart, and obviously Walmart gets a bad rap on a couple different levels, but I can tell you that when you're putting together a store, like a store's just, wide open, there's no shelving or anything like that, the groups that get together and that are, kind of piecing out shelving, and I'm going to go to this department and you're going to be a team lead for that. The environment's completely different than you've got department managers and all this product that you're stocking and people clerks, and you got all these problems with customers and this, that, and the other, because you don't have any customers.
Right.
Like you're just fulfilling orders, or I could see that teamwork atmosphere when we were talking about it. All right, back up a minute.
Okay.
Where did you grow up?
Grew up in the Panhandle,
Okay.
a little town called
Childress. That's right. Yeah. Okay.
And then
So you have pheasant hunt a little bit up there?
we weren't far enough north for
Okay.
pheasant.
Okay.
But dove, quail was real big there.
Yeah.
Plateau, we had some mule deer there.
Right.
But
And not quite north enough for antelope.
no.
Yeah.
You get
You got to get to Dumas.
yeah,
You got to get to Dumas.
yeah,
And Amarillo, or maybe a little South Amarillo for pheasant.
Yep.
Yeah, I was in Amarillo for 6 years, and so we go golf course, driving range. You got pheasant coming across, they just come across.
Yep.
You just try to aim at them and hit them, and the deer got smaller, and then you got to Dumas and antelope. Sure enough. Cool. Talk about hunting in foreign countries, because I've hunted, like I've flown my guns, domestically, which it isn't that hard. I mean, for people that have never done it, you load, you have to disassemble, you have to lock it, all that good stuff. And actually flying meat back isn't that hard either. You just freeze it in the container you need it to be in, and you can actually check it in. Should do a check on. So, but I'm sure it's quite a bit different when you hunt overseas. You've been to the Middle East, you've been to Asia. So walk us through what those, obviously, they're probably very different.
Right. So I've been to Africa a couple of times, been to Kyrgyzstan, have a trip planned to Azerbaijan, Canada's international. So I use a service, it's called Dillon Brownlee. So it's like a travel agency.
Oh, okay.
So you go there, you tell them, hey, I want to go chase this species in this country, and they facilitate everything.
Wow.
They get your travel, they get your translator, they get the paperwork for your guns. Most countries you can't bring meat back from. Canada, you can't. But Kyrgyzstan, there's a bunch of CITES permits and stuff like that. That a lot of red tape to get even your trophy back. So meat is probably not going to happen. But it's a process. They walk you through it. but I prefer to pay somebody to take all that off of my plate.
Right.
So I don't, if a gun gets lost or something, like I have an insurance policy.
Sure.
Pretty much. But as far as the international hunting, we can get into this, but there's a lot of like parallels I've drawn in my hunting career and my professional career. And one of them is the first international hunt I ever went on. So first international hunt I ever went on was Africa, had no money. I was making like 40 grand a year working for Budweiser, not doing, as well as I needed to afford a hunt like that.
Right.
But I went to the bank and took a loan out against the truck that I owned. Truck was paid off.
That's an obsession. Yeah. Yes.
And I was like, I got to do this. So I went and did that and came back and it opened.
Hold on. Tell us about it. I mean, so you get over there, what species are you hunting?
I had 5 species on my list I wanted to hunt.
Okay.
Came back with 11.
You came back with 11.
11 animals.
Holy smoke. Did you have to take another loan?
No, I covered everything. I was good.
Okay.
The taxidermy bill came, and then that was a little tough. But
right. So you came back with 11 species. You obviously were guided, I'm sure, once you hit the ground.
Yeah.
And then I know domestically you have spotters, and then those spotters tell you that's an $1,100 deer, or was that the same situation?
We'll be driving around, we were hunting kudu, and all of a sudden you come up on a group of impala. Now kudu's taking back seat.
Right.
Impala.
Right.
Or, never thought I'd shoot a zebra.
Yeah.
But the zebra story is probably better off camera.
Yeah.
Just the tracker and some of the jokes he said, it's pretty funny.
Right.
But I'd had no desire to shoot a zebra and ended up shooting one because kind of spur of the moment, adrenaline's pumping.
Yeah.
We were tracking something else and this popped up, and it's all it's a different game in Africa for sure.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've been out on hunts where you're walking a Sendera and you've got shotgun in your hand. You think you got some dove or quail, and then you've got your rifle on, it's on a sling on your back, and then whitetail jumps out at 2:30 in the afternoon, and it's 95 degrees, and it's right. Well, I'm switching out now.
Yeah.
Okay, we're hunting deer now. So I've been in that situation before for sure. So was it any different in Asia?
So Asia, completely different.
Okay.
So the Asia story is kind of funny. I went to Dallas Safari Club with a buddy of mine. Mm-hmm. He's become kind of my travel companion all over the world. And we walk in, sit down at the booth. I already wrote my check for caribou. I was like, I'm going caribou. Slide across the table, we're good. And I was trying to sell Taylor, which is my friend, to go caribou. And he goes, I don't know. Caribou doesn't get me going. And he points at this animal. He's like, what is that? It's on their backdrop. And they start telling us about this thing called the Mid-Asian Ibex in this country called Kyrgyzstan. It's the size of Nebraska.
Right.
And he was like, I want to do that. Let's go do that. And man, I want to. I'm gonna call my wife real quick. So call Shannon up. I'm like, hey babe, can I go hunting ibex in Kyrgyzstan this August? She goes, I don't care what you do. I'm walking in church. I'll call you after church. I was like, okay, cool.
That's a green light.
Yeah, green light. So change the memo on the check. It's like
playing. Can I play another 18? Yeah, I don't care what you do. I'm kind of taking that.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Let's play it.
So cut the check, pay for it. Go get some celebratory beers. We're walking around Dallas Safari Club. My wife calls me after church. She's like, okay, what were you talking about? Like, what are you doing? And I told her, and she's like, absolutely not. You're not going there. Well, babe, it's already paid for.
Right.
So it was a little touch and go there for a couple of days, but she warmed up to the idea.
Right.
But on that hunt, we walked out of Dallas Safari Club. I was probably banging like 240.
Oh,
weight.
Wow.
Not in great shape. The very next day, we strapped on our packs and started hiking, and I dropped 60 pounds in 7 months.
Wow.
On that hunt.
Because you were up in elevation, I guess?
Oh, yeah. We shot my ibex at 12,800 feet. So,
yeah. You're getting close to, you're getting close to knee knots into the wall. Yeah, what is it, around 14 or so? Yeah. Dang.
But, so back to the Africa thing and the parallels I was talking about. So one of the things that I learned from that trip specifically is calculated risk. So everything that has ever come to me that was good was my calculated risk. I'm talking my marriage. I'm talking the job change, having a baby. Like all of those things came to me because I made a calculated risk and willing to bet. So took a loan out on my truck, and it was one of the greatest experiences.
Yeah, sure.
So that's one of those things. Like I try to find things in the hunting world that translate into everyday life, and that was the main one.
Yeah, I'm definitely an experienced person. Like things are great, and I like them, and I like be around nice things, and purchasing things for people, but I'd much rather go on a trip with you, and that's something that I'll never forget, especially if it's a nice one.
Somebody told me one time that, to piggyback off that, is by experiences, not things.
Right.
Like that.
Sure.
It's a whole lot.
Yeah. So in Asia, you're at 12,000 feet, and you knock down your species that you were chasing, ibex. Ibex, yeah. And so what happens after that? Like you go get them. How do you get them?
So yeah,
how do you harvest them?
Yeah, we fly in. We take a 14-hour 4x, off-road ride up this mountain. Then we get on horseback for another 12 hours.
Oh,
yeah. And then we have a translator with us, but she doesn't come along the whole way. She stays at the truck.
Oh.
So we just get on these horses. So the people in Kyrgyzstan, they look Asian, they're Muslim in faith.
Yeah.
They speak Russian.
Oh.
It's like,
yeah.
So there's a major language barrier there. So we're riding along, and got my buddy Taylor and my buddy Trey with me, and we're just having a good time. And all of a sudden, I'm told to go with these two guys. They're told to go with these two guys, and we all kind of split up. And for the next 5 days, I'm not with anybody that speaks English. Like I'm with these two other guys, and I do whatever. So it was pretty interesting.
What are you eating? Like, are they it's like bread and soup and stuff, or is it stuff that you don't know what it is?
Yeah. So
salt cod.
Yeah. So we had a full chicken, a boiled chicken that was wrapped in foil.
Okay.
And we ate on that for 5 days.
Okay. I can down that.
Yeah. And then I brought some of my own snacks, like peanut butter, like single-serve peanut butters, and some protein bars and stuff. But it was mainly ramen and that chicken.
Right.
And then they had, I forget what they called it, but they had mare's milk.
Oh.
So it's horse milk that was fermented in sheep shit. It's the worst thing you've ever put in your mouth.
Okay.
But they
take your word for it.
Yes, it's horrible. But they thought,
drank it.
Oh, it was pretty much, if you didn't drink it, you would be offending guys. So you kind of choked it down or pretended like it.
Yeah, you weren't just like foraging every day,
right?
Things like that. I mean, made a camp.
Yep.
And could you tell the camp had been used multiple times, or
no? We had the tents and all that.
Oh, okay, got it.
So we got up there, we shot the ibex, got over to it, but all the way down. So this was the cool part. So we're on a 12-hour horseback ride, right? And you're passing all these little empty huts, or in the middle of the mountains, and even on the next one would be a hut, and there would be goats outside, and like 2 kids and a guy standing outside his hut.
Wow.
And I've been on a horse for 8 hours, haven't seen another person
right
up there. And we saw a couple of other people up there, but it was very, very, very remote.
Right.
But once we got the ibex, got it cleaned up, we took 2 days to get home, because on the way down, we would stop at every single one of those huts. And it was the hunter's tradition to go in, give them meat, and they would give us bread and cheese back, and we'd sit there and have a meal with them.
Wow.
And we would stay there for like an hour or two. And then fog, and I don't know what's going on, but you kind of get there, and the hospitality was phenomenal. Like these people don't have a pin to their name.
Sure. And
they're the most grateful and most gracious people back to you.
Wow.
By the time we got back to camp, we had very little left, because we were leaving, the best cuts of meat.
Wow. Phew, that's even hard to even think about. Like that's an experience that would be incredible. Yeah. So now you're chasing the North American 10, right?
Yep.
The Grand Slam, that's what it's called?
It's called the Super 10.
Super 10, Super 10. So there's 10 species, right? And you're down to 1, right? So you've got 9. Tell us a little bit about a couple of them that were either, you said calculated risk, so I assume that all of them were just like, you knew the shot was good and all that kind of stuff, but any close calls or any like memorable like experiences with any of the species that you?
So I think the pinnacle of any hunter's career should be a adult sheep. Adult sheep is one of the only white animals, like fully stark white in North America.
Wow.
About to go.
Yeah.
A lot of people just, I mean, that's like the pinnacle, should be the pinnacle of any North American hunter's career, in my opinion.
Right.
Very expensive hunt, but I kind of the same story with my wife. We went down, we were in Fredericksburg, and having them just stay in a little bed, breakfast down there, and we're sitting there talking about like our goals over the next couple of years, and I mentioned doll sheep, and she's like, well, why don't you just do that? Why don't you just knock that one out?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you draw a Venn diagram of sheep hunters, there is people that can afford it, and then people that can physically do it.
Right.
It's a very small window. He's like, you need to do this. So I called Trey that I mentioned earlier right there and said, hey, doll sheep next year, make that. So trained super hard, got in great shape for that one, and went up, flew into Alaska. It was 10 days, and got paired with this guy. He had never been on a sheep hunt before. The guide or whatever, the guy that was supposed to, go with me, never been on a sheep hunt before. And he was 24, 25 years old from Wisconsin, just hockey player with Bill like hockey.
Yeah.
And him and I fed off each other.
That's great.
We just he was super inexperienced on the hunting side, but he was in great shape, and I was in pretty good shape, but experienced on the hunting side. So we just fed off each other and helped each other out. But the parallel I came out of that hunt with was be comfortable being uncomfortable. Like nothing good. I mean, as soon as we got off the airplane, our feet were wet because we stepped into a creek, and we were soaking wet for the next 10 days.
Oh,
but super horrified. It's a lot of climbing, not high elevation, but I mean, sheep hunting is just, it's next level. There's a quote that says, a sheep hunter, you'll either go once and never do it again, or it's in your blood for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. And that right there, like, that's so, like, sheep hunting is nothing.
Really?
Oh yeah. And I had use this hashtag, like, jokingly called Get My Goat. And it's all about, like, getting up there and chasing something that other people are willing to go to. And that's kind of how I look at sheep hunting.
Gotcha. So in that case, what day were you able to accomplish it? You were there for 10 days. Sure. So what was it, day 4 or 5?
Yeah, it was day 4 that I took over the doll sheep.
What was it? It was a long shot, short shot?
So that ends back to me and Austin kind of feeding off each other. We found these sheep on day 4, and he was like, hey, 660 yards, you got this shot. I'm like, oh no, you have not been with me to the range.
Right.
Like,
it's probably snowing and
like 400 max.
Yeah.
Hey, so
yeah.
We had to close the distance, and it was super tough, and ended up shooting the sheep at like 265.
Yeah, but it's still a long shot.
Yeah. But very, very emotional moment for me and Austin. I met this guy 5 days before.
Right.
Very emotional moment for us on the side of the mountain. No one else, I mean, miles around. So it's a very memorable moment that only him and I, like, you try to explain a hunt like that, and you can't fully explain it, right?
Yeah.
Except the one guy that was there knows what happened and all that. It's
sure. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, my family, my mentors are getting in their 70s, and so we go hunting, and you never know when the last one's going to be, and so when you watch one of your mentors knock down a deer, you don't know when it's the last one or last dove, quail, whatever it is, and so. You help, them process it, and you're there, with helping them move things around and with a knife, and And it's just, it's hard. It is hard to explain because you're harvesting, although it's different than what they did thousands of years ago, because you're using different weaponry, but you're doing something that's similar to what's happening then, and as long as you're not wasting it, then it's purposeful. Especially that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this desire, all your passions and all that leads you into this VP position at Gator Waders. You mentioned Justin. He founded it in 2010. He's on an oil rig, like he's struggling, like he comes off the oil rigs, and he's like trying to get things together while he's off of it. Or at least that's what I read. That all of his non-working time, he was working on this company. It was geared initially for mostly women, because he was on his off time that he did have spare time. He was mudding and hunting and things like that. He was seeing a lot of disparities between women's opportunities with waders and boots and things like that. So and then you come into the fold. He had a lot of confidence in you, meeting you at these trade shows and sparring with you and all that good stuff. So I did some looking in the website. It's an awesome website, gatorwaders.com. And you've got a couple lines there. We'll get into the future, what you see, but can we talk a little bit about some of the lines that you guys have right now? The 7 camo. You have a couple different colors. They look pretty impressive. Can you talk a little bit about like the thought process in that, and a little bit about the patterns and that type of stuff, or the success stories?
So yeah, Justin, he started doing the mud riding scene was his thing.
Right.
And it's funny, the Gator was founded on like a zebra print pair of waders.
Right.
It's kind of, to this day, we do leopard print waders, and I hate telling people this. It's one of our best things.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Like, I work for a rugged outdoor apparel brand. That's camo and man's.
Right.
And
right.
No, we sell a lot of the leopard stuff too.
Right.
But yeah, he started, I want to say they launched the hunt line in 2016.
Yeah.
And kind of took off, and then I came in 2020 and really focused on the hunt side of things. But yeah, he had developed this camo pattern before I came on, and I came on kind of in the middle of the launch. And where we are now in the industry, so you have mossy oak and real tree. They've been around since the 80s, and that's like the big thing. Stick and limb is what everybody calls those, stick and limb patterns. And then you have this company called Sitka. Came out of nowhere in about 2012. They started popping up, and they had their own pattern. It's called Optifade, and it's this digital pattern. Nobody like really jumped on board with it yet, but they did a very good job marketing that pattern, and it started like threatening the stick and limb patterns. So Getawares, we had a license with Mossy Oak and Real Tree, and they're great partners, and there's a very like big place for them in the market. But there's also this digital side of things. So Justin had the idea to develop the pattern called 7. It's the 7th year in the hunting industry, so that's where the name came from. And he built the original pattern was for like a timber scenario, like hunting flat timber. And then when I came in, I was like, hey, we could change this up just a little bit and add some browns and some blacks to it and make it look more like a marsh pattern. So that gave us the 2 different ones. And it kind of filled a void that we didn't have in the beginning, because Sitka, they came in out of nowhere. Even when I was at Drake, nobody took them serious. Everybody's like, who's this little company out of Bozeman, Montana? And now, they do good stuff, man. Drake does good stuff. Bandit does good stuff. We do great stuff. Like, I think competition is great.
Yeah.
Like, you get all these brands spotting each other back and forth.
Yeah.
Sitka does something cool, then Drake does something cool.
Right.
We come out and do it better and just keep going back and forth. Like, the consumer ends up winning.
Right. Oh, sure.
Like, competition.
That is America.
Yeah.
That is what
capitalists
did.
Yeah. Competition breeds excellence.
Yeah.
I feed off of that. I love it. Like, when somebody sends me a screenshot of what one of my competitors is doing, they're like, hey, look what they did. Well, you don't know what I'm doing next year, so good for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And then you have Save the Tundra, right?
Yep.
So Talk to us a little bit about that.
So the Save the Tundra initiative was something that our national sales manager, Cody Van Pelt, it was like a passion project for him.
Mm-hmm.
So he put that all that together. He worked with Delta Waterfowl, and every half of every sale of that goes right back to conservation.
Yeah, it's a cool looking hoodie too.
Yeah, he did a good job with it. Cody's very much conservation minded. He brings a different mindset to the company. You know, a lot of us just sit around, look at P&L reports, and and you know, how can we make more money? And Cody is always the first one to be like, hey, you know, we got to give back.
Right.
We take so much from this industry. We take so much from the waterfowl industry. We got to give back to it.
Right.
So he kind of keeps us in line and makes sure the compass is still.
Yeah, you got to have those folks.
Yeah,
got to have those.
Yep.
And then you have some events later on in the year, Wild Country.
Yeah, that's the off-road side.
Yeah.
So
It's in Mississippi.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I've never been to one of those personally, but...
And I went to one, and it's a party. In fact, when I didn't even know the mud riding thing was that big deal. And
right.
When I told my wife, I was like, hey, I can go to this event. It's called, I think it was Wild Country, or Mud Nats it was. Mud Nats.
Mud Nats.
Yeah. She's like, what is that? I don't know. And we looked up some YouTube videos on what it was, and you were not going to this alone. Absolutely not, because it's like birds.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
We actually
maybe just like a natty light, or a bush light, or meadow bourbon strip. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the off-road industry is a big portion of what we do. It's sure. When I came on, it was probably like 70-30 hunting off-road, and now it's about 50-50.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, the events are fun. We all kind of pull together and we all travel and get them, and it ends up being a big party. It turns into a big team building.
Yeah, sure. So I'm gonna let you have a little bit of that. Sorry, you're gonna do a lot of talking. Obviously Gator Waders is much bigger than what it was when you said you almost tripled it. I'm sure you've broken into a couple new markets. Can you talk about maybe a couple markets that you've broken into that have surprised you?
So we were founded on the women's stuff,
right?
But we have found some kind of niche with like these boutique, like smaller mom and pop stores that, you know, love our brand. We do a camp shoe and camp boots. It's a waterproof ankle boot, and we do these crazy patterns that our competitors don't do. They stick to the browns and the olives and the camel patterns, and we're doing leopard, bright pink, and all that. I mean, I spent half my day today looking over new color palettes. So that's been really surprising. And then the farm and ranch people, like the Tractor Supplies of the world.
Atwoods.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're finding we're getting a lot of success there too.
Gotcha.
And you know, those people live in knee boots and ankle boots and stuff like that, whether feed the horses or, you know, washing something.
Steak, so they're wearing it for steak protection, or?
Yeah, no, more like just waterproof footwear, you know, keeping mud off of them and stuff like that when they're...
We're gonna let this pass, but I think it's pretty loud. But it's a phenomenal. And you can take this train to Dallas.
Really?
Yeah, you go straight to Dallas.
Where is it?
That way it goes to Shreveport. Yeah, Longview, Shreveport. It stops in Longview. And it's Amtrak, so it's legit. It's not like, we're not talking about, that's a passenger train. Yeah. Or now, not all of them are passenger trains. Cargo, yeah. But, yeah, you could take an Amtrak to Dallas. We've done it. It's pretty fun. I mean, I want to say it was like $60 to there, and then $60 back. Yeah, no, $60 back, under 20. Which, yeah, for the experience, it wasn't too bad. Right. My dad was a yard master for Union Pacific, who owns Amtrak, and so I've not only ridden on a train, but I've also driven, or you run it. And he was down in New Orleans, so got to go over like Huey Bridge, and you're looking down, and you're like, there's water behind, so
derailment, right?
Cool experience. And then you got a spittoon in the corner, so you're like, oh, and it's back like before they went pretty much like tobacco-less in like the late 90s, I believe. Don't kill me, Dad, if this gets aired, but I want to say it was the late 90s that he was a chewer, Levi Garrett.
Yeah.
And Redman.
Oh,
and oh yeah, man, it's like, you know, he was a golfer. He got me into golf, and so he was a swing and spit, that guy. Just swing, and then he didn't watch it. Most of the time, he'd just spit, and then he'd watch it.
Yeah.
And that's just what I grew up with. And then in the late 90s, I think in the late 90s is when they went tobacco-less. So I was running one when I was quite a bit older than you. So I think I was probably 10. So this would have been 88 or so, maybe even younger, at running it and finding joy in doing that. Of course, he knew that I'd like it. And they had a spittoon. And I have a spittoon at my house.
So that's cool.
It's a Union Pacific spittoon.
Oh, wow.
There's not many out there. As true Gratz, it's got the locomotive on the front, and it's got Union Pacific Railroad. It's got the initials on there. It's pretty cool.
Very cool.
But I remember that being in the corner and him spitting in it, you know, and then later on, I remember bringing my son, who's 23 now, which much different game back after they went tobacco-less, because then they provided sunflower seeds.
Yeah.
And then everything in spittoon was a sunflower seed. So much different ball game. All right. So what does a day in the life of VP look like? I mean, you just said you went through a bunch of pallets. How many people are there? Obviously there's some management of individuals, but it sounds like you get your hands more into like the revenue streams and how to make products better too. So you're almost like developmental too. So how many hats do you wear?
So I mean, this time last year I was doing operations, HR, product development, sales, marketing. I mean, it was all of it.
Right.
We've hired some very key people.
Sure.
Recently, we recently hired a VP of operations, Josh. We stole him from Southside Bank. So they probably aren't well happy with us, but he has been the best hire we've had in the past couple of years. But he has taken a lot of off my plate.
Kudos, Josh.
Yeah, way to go.
Right.
But yeah, so typically I'll walk in and, you know, sales and marketing heavy right now.
Right.
Because that's really what I'm focused on. But product development, you know, we all sit at the table together. It still has that small, you know, startup feel. We'll get the girls in there, be like, hey, we're deciding these waiters for these women.
Sure.
How do they affect you the way you punch, or, you know, how do they fit you? So the product development's a team effort. Then we start thinking colorways. That's a team effort. A lot of headbutting. A lot of people don't like each other after that meeting.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's some days that we'll get a container of product in the warehouse down in Bullard, and all of us will leave the office and go out there and help unload the container. It's just a little bit of everything.
Just still grassroots.
Yep.
I mean, it's still grassroots.
We feel like that. I'm glad we still have that culture.
Yeah.
But I can see us slowly getting.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, at some point you have to in order to fulfill demand.
Right.
But
I think it's important for Justin too. I mean, he gets out there and does containers. He started this thing.
Yeah.
But we have a mentality, and all the managers know I feel like this, but it's leading from the front. Just be the first one through the wall.
Yeah.
All your people are going to follow you if you're the first one through.
Right.
Let's go.
Yeah, we have this. What I'm doing now, we sometimes transport like materials with a U-Haul. So we load it up, and it's like, all right, you get in the U-Haul. This is the hottest place to be, man. You know? and normally it's, you know, I'm catching, and you've got the newest individual that's in there, and you're like, you get the experience of being in the U-Haul and throwing this spray. Like, this is what you do. I mean, it's breaking you in, you know, so that way you know what's going on. So wearing a lot of hats. I think it's great. How many states do you guys distribute to? Is it all of them, or okay? So anybody in the United States can order from a website and they can get it shipped to them.
We're international too. I mean,
that was my next question. Is how many countries are you?
We ship worldwide. I mean, we had order last week from Kuwait. Well, I didn't know there were ducks in Kuwait. Like, I thought it was just oil over there. But yeah, we had a pretty significant order from Kuwait the other day. Canada's real big for us.
Canada?
Yeah, New Zealand. There's a big duck hunting population in New Zealand. Jim season there, and they no nuts. So
Train again. Yeah. I'm going to take this opportunity to all right. My second pour is going to be Lone L honey. There's pretty popular locally. This is distilled in Forney, which is probably about 40 miles away. They did this release. I think they're still offering it. It's honey finished barrel. I enjoy this a lot. It's 100. I think it's 108 proof, so should be good. So you're sending stuff worldwide. So you have a worldwide, or you have an international distributor, or
no, we'll ship it all. Ship it Bullard, Texas.
Yeah, DHL or
we use a mixture of FedEx and UPS.
Gotcha.
A little bit of the US postal.
Yeah, gotcha. All right, so what does the future look like for like hunting accessories, hunting items that you guys sell? Do you sell clothing? You sell waders? But you sell boots? You sell hats, shirts?
Yeah, we do all the logo stuff.
Yeah. So what is it? What are the next steps? Like you were talking about, every year makes different companies pushing each other digitally, patterns, things like that. What's the next thing we're going to see in the industry? Don't give away to don't give away any secrets.
But we recently had a new company kind of pop up in the past year or two. Good friend of mine started it, actually. His name's Jeff Jones. Yeah, he started this company called Shin Gear.
Oh,
and we're doing it right. I mean, they're a direct to consumer brand. They built some really good stuff, and it's kind of got everybody in the industry like, whoa, like we need to step up our game again. So about a month ago, we sat down with all of our factories, came up with some new ideas, try to figure out, how can we build on what we've got, and how can we go back at them and be like, hey, y'all, we're doing good stuff now, come catch us. So it's just the back and forth that's going to continue to happen. And we're doing some stuff on the fabric side, some features on the waders that some other people are doing, but we're going to try to improve it.
Right. But gotcha. Two last things. One is, has there been a moment where you've been able to, as a VP, it's helter-skelter, I imagine. Has there been a moment where you've just kind of taken a breath and looked at maybe a small picture, or even a bigger picture of like what's been accomplished, or maybe a moment in time where you're like when you down that goat, where you're stopping, it became emotional for you, like whether that's with a single individual's success or seeing somebody do something that was extraordinary, or maybe the business in general, like final numbers or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple of moments like that for me.
I imagine with you traveling business.
Yeah, I mean, there's always like, you have your goal, and I try to break up into smaller goals, and I mean, hopefully we're doing that every single day, because like, what's the saying? If you win an hour, you win the day. If you win enough days, you win the week. You win weeks, you win the year.
Yeah,
so on and so forth. And I feel like the people that we have hired and the people in place make me look so good. Like I feel like I'm really good at my job.
Yeah.
But there are a few key people that work at Gator Wares that just, I've watched them grow over the past 3 years, and I can't talk about one of them right now, but there's specifically like the details of it. But there's a girl, Kayla. She started off as just running our social media.
Yeah.
And she has done so much.
Right.
Like kind of taking her under my wing and try to like mentor her a little bit. But she is one of the best employees that we have. Like if we were to lose her tomorrow,
yeah. She really, wow.
So just seeing her growth, like I have someone shipping what her career path.
Yeah, sure. As managers, that's what we do.
Yep.
We leave a piece of ourselves. That's what we give is time, and time is a piece of us.
Right.
And obviously, we're both salary managers, and so we're on the clock at all times.
Yeah.
Somebody calls us at 10 or 11 or 12, or Texas or whatever. It's interrupting time away from our private time or personal time, and so you're taking a piece of that. But at the same token, you're molding someone that carries a certain type of legacy for you. And there's an understanding there. And it's hard for folks that are connected to potentially you and I to understand that, because it's not the same role.
Sure.
When you're trying to mentor somebody, you get somebody under your wing. But go ahead.
I was gonna say personally, like I left Drake on I feel like good terms.
Sure.
I knew what their revenue was. That's how I left. And when I hired on at Gator Wares, Justin asked me what my goal was, and I said 1 million more than this number.
Right.
And that is still my goal.
Yeah.
And he when him and I were talking, he was worried about a no compete and all that. I was like, man, you don't gotta worry about this.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm moving my family here.
Sure.
I'm in this for the long haul.
Yeah.
So every year we get a little bit closer to that number.
Yeah,
Sure. That'll be the moment.
That'll be where you just, because in operations, you worry about that breath moment where you're just like, okay, everything's okay, but then you got tomorrow, but it's healthy to take that step back and reflect on the steps you took and the grind that you took and all that good stuff. Okay, so last thing, I had a variety of things that I could throw curveballs, but the first one didn't go well. So.
Let's talk about that.
Well, I was told that turkey hunters were the greatest hunters.
Okay. I don't know who told you that, and I would love to understand their thinking so I can make them think how I think.
Well, I was told that.
Yeah.
But I wanted to give you an opportunity to give some kudos if you wanted to. Obviously, you talked about Josh.
Yes.
And then Kayla.
Josh, Caleb, Cody.
And Cody. Yeah.
They're my core people, man.
Right.
I can't do what I do without them.
Yeah.
One thing I've learned at Gator Waders, and another one of those parallels I was talking about earlier, is being able to operate in chaos.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
it's a big thing, right? So
right. The calm amongst chaos.
I went on this goat hunt one time in British Columbia. Horrible snow. Came back with nothing.
Right.
14 days. It was absolutely the worst hunt I've ever been on.
Right.
But being able to operate with the worst conditions, watching avalanches and all that around you, and still have a clearer head, you take that back to professional, and I was surrounded by people that helped me be able to operate in that chaos.
Yeah.
If the warehouse were to blow up tomorrow, I know that I could sit in our conference room, have Justin across from me, Caleb, Cody, Josh, sit at that table, and we'd figure it out together.
Right.
And that is
invaluable.
Yes, I need people like that around me.
Right.
Because when I came on, I was doing Kayla's job, and I thought I was better at it. Her better than me.
Right.
Without question. I'm getting Cody there. Josh is taking stuff off the plate. Justin has finally started trusting me. He's going to be taking a step back, hopefully.
Yeah.
And we're just going to keep growing this thing.
Yeah, man. Super exciting. You're a girl dad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So is Josh.
Yeah.
Josh is a girl dad. I swear to God, if I would have had a girl, I'd be bankrupt. Find out. I mean, but she's and so you credit your wife too. I mean, obviously.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. The thing that every Christmas dinner, I try my best to, because we let plus ones come in, and obviously it doesn't matter color, creed, or there's whatever. It doesn't matter. They come in, and I want to thank the plus ones. Like the employees, I thank them throughout the year, and whether that's financially or they verbally praise them or write them a note, email, text, what have you. But the plus ones don't really get a lot of credit,
right?
Throughout the year. So whenever I'm having that Christmas dinner, I make sure, hey, I do say it up and recognize those folks. So I'm sure you credit a lot of your success.
Oh, my wife puts up like, I mean,
all of our wives. Yeah.
But this woman, she is essentially a widow during hunting season. She supports me. Right. And she knows I need that outlet. As men, I believe like guys need a challenge. They need a adventure to go on. And she supports that.
Right.
Most guys that I know, like, man, I can't go hunt this weekend. My wife's gonna give me a hard time. I tell my wife, like, hey, I think I'm gonna stay home. Really?
Right.
You don't want to get out there? Or if I book a hunt, she's like, okay, cool. We'll be here when you get back. But the flip side of that, outside of hunting season, I'm very involved.
Right.
Like I'm at cheer practice. Your girl having my hair braided or fingernails painted at night. Like I'm still very, very invested.
Yeah, it's cool, man. Yeah. Yeah, man, that's awesome. I like that. Anything else you want to know?
Oh man, I appreciate you having me.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect coming in here, but yeah, great spot you invited me to. I appreciate you reaching out to me.
Yeah,
it's funny what bourbon can do, like bring people together.
Yeah, man.
That's some interactions in the past, but
yeah, I mean, there's a variety of people that I really wanted to bring on when I thought about this. Like I was doing sampling here at the Beckham, and during COVID, it was great. I mean, there's a lot of attendance because people were just trying to get out. And then it kind of dwindled down over the last like 6 months, and the Beckham was supporting all of it. They were, financing the bottles we were selecting and also paying for my time, and it just wasn't fair to them. And so I pitched it to them like, hey, let's have a podcast. Let's just talk about, let's have a spirit available so that way we can talk about that. Because obviously I'm heavily involved in barrels and the East Texas Whiskey Club and the East Texas Bourbon Society, but also have some entrepreneurs and have some people that are invested in the area that impact our lives, even though we don't maybe know it directly. But I love having you guys on, talk about your passions and talk about accomplishments that you've done.
So can I ask you?
Yeah, sure.
Like, who's one person that you would love to have on? Like, if you could talk to anybody.
Man, I'd love to have Casey Musgraves on. I think that'd be fun to have like a national star that is from the area, that's down to earth, and talk about maybe upbringing and talk about steps that led to the next step. Obviously, those have been chartered, and I could do the research, but hearing from her and then talking about how she broke in and some of the things that she's done since then and people that she's met. I mean, I think that'd be awesome to have that. As somebody who's local, that's really kind of spot off. And Miranda Lambert, I'd love to have her, but that's not gonna happen. It's just not with 100 followers, 150 followers maybe, but you never know. I mean, this has been fun. It's been great. It's great having Josh as a partner. I think what we're doing is a good thing because we're not just sticking to, hey, look, let's drink some bourbon, and I think I taste, sugar in it or whatever, banana or whatever. There's plenty of podcasts where you can watch that. I watch some of those, but I really enjoy the dynamics that people bring, the personal element of things, because we're all built a little different. We all have different upbringings. We have different influences. We have different triggers. And I think that part of it is what I enjoy. And as a VP, we have to enjoy that, right? And like you have to know what motivates Kayla. You have to know what motivates Josh, because those things are different. And understanding those things are part of what we do to optimize their talents and then progress the company. So, yeah, that's a good question. I've never had a question. Well, I did have a question, but it was like so far up base that I just didn't even know how to answer it.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I like people from Tyler Tyler, Lindale, Mineola, the surrounding areas that are subject matter experts or historians or people that can help educate a community and possibly educate beyond that and impact somebody's life. Like last week, we had an organ transplant coordinator that talked to us about being a donor. And I know for a fact we had one person add themselves to the donor list. That's enough for me. Wow. Within the time we have.
It's worth an hour.
It's a worth an hour conversation. And so I hope that maybe you have somebody who is intrigued by your products, or possibly pursuing hunting abroad or hunting the TED, the slail or super TED, yeah, or at least intrigued in looking at it, see how many species. What's the one species you got left?
Those.
And got that.
Yeah. Well, I figured I'd
go
look out
Colorado
first.
You got to sit in a big tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you go up there, when you're pursuing that, is there a certain type of, like you want huge ones, right? Or you want...
I want a good representation of the species. I want to get the experience. It doesn't have to be the biggest or the best.
My supervisor is a photographer, and he does photography for like the high schools and the colleges, you know, the magazines and stuff like that. And he took a trip to Colorado, and he wanted to do a bull moose. He wanted to find a bull moose, take pictures of it, and he found one where he tracked one for like 2 days, trying to get the perfect picture. And of course, he finally found it, and it was like either dawn or dusk, we can't remember, but the moose like breathed in and got all that stuff. And through that, he is hearing like elk bugling and all. I mean, he's just like, just never imagined how great that feeling is to finally how a human track an animal.
Right.
It's, you can definitely see an animal track human. Because we're clumsy and we give off scents, stuff like that. But to do the opposite, I mean, it's a revelation of just what we were doing about years ago. You know, you're recreating that in modern time. So it's cool. Well, man, thanks so much for being on the podcast. Yeah, it was really fun. I enjoyed the conversation. The next one we're going to have an individual who specializes in insurance, but he also does a lot of work in the community. And so I'm looking forward to having him on. We'll announce that in a couple of weeks, right, Josh? And we'll have this podcast aired probably on Monday is what we're shooting for. So looking forward to having you back. This is Spirit Squared. Thanks so much.